I grew up here in the East Village. Went to school here, fashion industries, and then a little bit of FIT. I'm a New Yorker, so where are you from?
I was born and raised in Key West, and I've been in New York now for about 10 years. And I guess I'm an unofficial New Yorker.
Well, that's no problem.
A lot of our inspiration comes from film and music, and just women in general. It's a really exciting time right now just to be in fashion because you can pretty much mix any genre. You can mix a lot of different materials. You know, people have an opportunity now to use fashion as an escape. I think that's why we like fashion and film, because they kind of are the same. It's a way to escape the everyday and have a little bit of fun. The Ecco Domani Fashion Foundation Award has really granted us a great opportunity to really express ourselves this season. We weren't planning on doing a show, but since this happened, now we have the opportunity to do so. And we're completely honored and so thankful that they gave us this opportunity and chose us to be one of the alumni of Ecco Domani.
Well, I was born in Paris, and my father is French, and my mother is American. I think I decided to pursue fashion as a career when I was about 18. It kind of like evolved organically, and it was what I was the most interested in. And after I started my own line, and it was the recession. It still is a recession. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of making a little money, and I may be okay. That was maybe the moment I was like, okay, maybe we'll be okay. This was one of the pieces we submitted for Ecco Domani that is meant to look like the caning on a chair. And then this is dotted Swiss, or primiti, which is a silk chiffon with cotton. All of these are layers of pleated tulle, pleated broderie anglaise, which is embroidered cotton. We were always planning to do Ecco Domani, and it was an important step in our development.
I sort of came of age hanging out at a place not far from here on 21st Street called Danceteria. So when you're like 14 years old, you came from Long Island, it's like, oh, there's something else, you know? So it was sort of like a great place, a great playground. I'm not from the fashion schools. I'm just learning the first rudiments of pattern making. I mean, I'm approaching it as a textile designer. I mean, that's where I come from as a printmaker. And then the funnest thing is to see what happens when you know, basically I love what the body does to the print. Because on a piece of paper, it's great, but it gets kind of boring. And then when you start to cut it, drape it, ruche it, it's like a whole nother like dimension. The process is a collaborative process between the whole studio. It's kind of everyone who comes in here is somehow affecting the process every day. Like it's always this random thing. Like we were working on this one jacket, and a friend of ours named Katie came by, and she was like, put it on upside down, and it was like, that's it. It's great upside down. So like it became this other jacket. I like to try and do a print that it doesn't feel retro or derivative, but it has this feeling like it's been around for 1,000 years. One of the things I play around with is printing sort of a woven image on a jersey fabric, on a knit. So it looks like a woven fabric, but it behaves like a knit. Ecco Domani is really doing what, you know, it's just fundamental. It gives these young designers a platform, an excuse, a reason to get out there and show, and it's amazing that they're doing it.
I was born in Germany, grew up there, lived there for 19 years, and then moved to England to study, and I came here like 2001. I never really thought I want to do fashion. I came to New York to be an architect, and this is where I worked in for a couple of years. And a good friend of mine suggested I should try out fashion. I'm really into the 90s designers like Helmut Lang, Joe Sander, Miguel Edriver. The Ecco Domani award really gave us a huge boost. It helped us as a little entity to be more ambitious, to really reach our goals in any sense, and gives us more exposure, and it helps us to reach people we haven't reached before. So this is the trench coat in 100% cashmere. Basically it has a kimono sleeve, so it's no armhole, it's all one shape, one continuous piece. It's has all like real horn buttons and has those leather straps here. So you can wear it like this if you want to. I think everything is important. I mean, fashion is just another outlet for me to express, I mean, in a selfish way, but I think it makes people, it's like culture, like why you read poetry or why you watch a movie. I think there's something about it where we are drawn by a certain sensation, excitement, exuberance, which helps us maybe to get by every day or something to think of, dream of.
My inspiration comes from the street, for sure, from women I see on the subway. My inspiration comes from my mom. I mean, it's so personal and then it's really public at the same time. I've always been surrounded by fashion. My grandmother, on my mother's side, she was a tailor. The label is called prova, and prova is like a fitting in the Greek language. So I would, I would be in the kitchen or I would be in the living room, and my grandmother would call to me and say, it's time for your prova. So kind of that's sort of where it all began. I don't have a target audience. I don't design with a specific person in mind. There are no stories, it's not about like Sophia Loren living in, Jaipur, cooking curry and bolognese sauce at the same time. Like, there are no stories. It's just me making things that I really love that speak to me. And I think for that reason, I have customers who are 70 years old and I have customers who are 17 years old. These are this is the scarf collection. They're called Sandinistas. They were inspired by Joe Strummer. They're triangular in shape. That's why I saw a documentary and he wore a lot of kind of bandito style scarves and they're really tough, and I thought it would be interesting to make them, but make them in really scrumptious silks and lots of poppy colors. So they're meant to be worn like this. They're kind of cool. I found out about the Ecco Domani Fashion Foundation. My friend suggested I apply, and I did. It gives you confidence as a young emerging designer. You're struggling in so many ways to, to keep the business going, to be true to yourself. And if you think about the designers that have won in the past and where they are now, it doesn't get any better.
I started designing things in 1982. The first things that I designed were hats, and Barney's was my first customer. I had that kind of life that, people had back in the 90s. 2 houses, 2 cars, always on an airplane, always off of an airplane, and not happy. I decided I really wanted to make a contribution that was a tangible contribution to the design world, to the fashion industry. Part of the aesthetic and part of like the DNA in organic is that things are very clean, very direct. This is really a heritage season also. Heritage in fashion, meaning that we've opened up the cupboard and we're sort of taking out things that maybe have been put away metaphorically. I'm very grateful and thankful for Ecco Domani for the opportunity to be able to show my work. Thank you.
Before the big show, each designer puts on their own runway show or presentation. Our designers this year came up with some of the most imaginative presentations to date. From hammocks to gorillas, these shows had it all. The Ecco Domani Fashion Foundation, a big award this year, has gone to you. How has that changed what you've been able to do right here tonight in presenting your collection?
My collection is bigger. I think it's more sophisticated. More people can come, and you have more music and more wine.
Congratulations, and I'm so happy for you. It's a really fabulous collection, and it's an innovative product, and it's an accessories product that you're really responsible for creating a new genre. It's like jewelry juice.
Yeah, it's like jeggings, but like what's the word? We have to come up with the word.
I started with jewelry.
It's like scrollery.
Right.